Hello, and welcome back to another episode of My Aston Martin Driver Career Mode. We are in Mexico for the Mexico City Grand Prix. This is part number 20. We're almost at the end of Season 1. We're still in a constructors battle with Haas, and we're still trying to get as good a results as possible. As last race, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. We managed to pull off, I believe it was a P6 finish to really boost ourselves up in the championship. I believe it brings us level on points with Haas, or maybe 2 points behind on point with Haas. I am not 100% sure. I'm sure if you watch the video to the end, you can see what it was. But now we are going to qualifying in Mexico. I don't want to call it one of my best tracks. It is one of my decent tracks, but it isn't my best at the same time. I think we can do quite well here. I'm not sure. This tight, twisty baseball section at the end is probably the bit where I'm the worst at. But anyway, let's get this lap started. Starting, we have the very long straight DRS. We're having I was hoping to get a little bit of a tow from our teammate Sebastian Vettel, but that is not going to be the case. Really running wide through the first few corners, not the start to the lap that we could have wanted, but we have got to push on. We need these qualifying positions in the races. This just is quite a messy lap to start with, and I'm sure we will be able to improve it on our second run, but that is not happening yet, and we are still looking at our first run, still trying to get the best time that we possibly can, but we do probably have to improve on our next few laps, as most of the time we do. I generally go decent lap first, amazing lap second, and then complete and utter put it in the bin lap, as once again, when I'm commentating qualifying, Kevin Magnussen sets the fastest lap of qualifying. He tends to go out quite early, so we do tend to see that quite a lot, as we are going to come across the line set at 1:18.5, a second off our teammate Sebastian Vettel, and that means we are going to have to improve it for the second lap, which we're starting now. A little bit of a battle up ahead with the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. I believe that was George Russell in the Mercedes. Right now is in P19. He has set a lap, so it obviously wasn't a very good lap. We're about 500 down on the straight, but we're coming towards the end of the lap. We are around 3 to 4 attempts up on our lap. Can we find some more time through the baseball section? Yes, we can. We're about 8 attempts up on our lap. Can we hold this to improve our time? As we improve our time by 8.5 attempts, putting us in P18. As you can see, we clearly didn't get a good getaway off the lines. We're immediately making time, but now onto our third and final lap along the massive straight. We're going to get a very powerful tow from Nicholas Latifi, as that is going to allow us to gain some time on the straight, but that is not going to be all we need to get a good position in this race. Braking just around the 100 meters board through turns 1, 2 and 3. Tight, twisty section. Can we get through it? Yes, we can. We got about a 7/10 improvement. We're probably looking for around 4/10 improvement on this lap, if we're going to be honest with ourselves and try and get a good position. We're losing some time through there, but then we immediately gain it back. We're now 2/10 up on our lap time. Still going strong. 2/10 up. We probably want to find about 2 to 3 more if we want to set a good lap time here. We're around 3.5 tenths now. We found a 10.5 at the start of the Mickey Mouse section, and we're still going. We've found 5 tenths on our lap. This is more than we were expecting to find into the baseball stadium. We are not going to find much more time. We can improve about 10th through there, and we improve about 6 tenths on lap, which is going to put us in unlucky number P13 for the race. Yeah, P13. In my opinion, that's probably what the best result we could have got. We're about a 10th off Schumacher. We probably could have improved a bit. Our teammate sets a 1:17.236. We were the best of a very tight bunch of cars. As yeah, it looks dry. We're completely losing our thing to Fernando Alonso, and at this point, I am quarreling taking a gearbox penalty because our gearbox is about 83% worn. How's it? Yeah, and that's not good. But we are going to decide to not take it, so let's get into this.
Welcome to Mexico City, the most popular city in North America, and home, of course, to the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd as usual here at one of the shortest circuits on the Formula One calendar. And who, I wonder, will they be cheering on the top step of today's podium? At 2,285 meters above sea level, the thin air of the autodromo Hermanoz Rodriquez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners then make a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit. Expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking into the braking zones of turn 1 and turn 4. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo and Leclerc. They've taken a grid penalty. Mick Schumacher, Sainz, the engineer, and Pierre Gasly. Norris, Bottas, Sergio Perez, and Vettel. Fernando Alonso, Latifi, Esteban Ocon. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Yuki Tsunoda. Joe and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay guys, so first off I'm going to have to apologise. For some reason, when I recorded this race, OBS decided that it was going to shit itself and record in about 10 FPS. I'm going to try and use offboard as much as possible to try and get the point of the race across, but that is a thing to do in the race as we are now lined up on the grid, getting ready to go to the 5 red lights. I think that's a Mercedes on pole, Red Bull alongside as we go to 5 red lights and we go green in Mexico City. Pretty decent start from us, decent start from the Ferrari ahead of us, the Carlos Sainz. We get kind of boxed in with the Haas and the Ferrari there. Can we make up some positions off the start? Little bit of turn 4 wide there for a second with the Haas, AlphaTauri and the Ferrari. We are going to lose out to the AlphaTauri, but we are going to gain on the Ferrari as the Haas really slows down. I believe that was Mick Schumacher. Good to get ahead of him as now can we stay ahead of the Ferrari? Much faster car, that Ferrari. We've got the AlphaTauri ahead of us to kind of give us a bit of defense from the slipstream. I believe that's Charles Leclerc going side by side with Kevin Magnussen up ahead, but we're really focusing on our race now, as though it would be nice to get above the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. On to lap 2 now. We are going down the end of the straight. We have Carlos Sainz about 1.3 seconds ahead of us. I mean behind us, sorry. And there are 2 cars fighting in front of us, which is the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo and the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. But now down the straight, we are going to be right behind Pierre Gasly. Daniel Ricciardo is shaping up for a move on Kevin Magnussen, but can we try and shape for anything into the corner? No, we cannot. As can we see if we can maybe capitalize on the battle that's being had up ahead? They're fighting. Pierre Gasly gets slowed down. Can we make a move on Gasly through here? We're going to go around his outside. Can we get up his inside? Yes, we can. Just squeezing the AlphaTauri out there, as we are now up in another place in this race. Another place closer to the Haas. P7 in this race. That would be a very good result for us. But who else is getting a good result in this race is Kevin Magnussen, who's up in P5. It is only lap 2. Everything can change. We have a bit of a tough time through Sector 2. Gasly's going to close to within a tenth of us. We need to gain some more time on him through this baseball stand stadium, as we are going green on a lap. It is lap 2, so you would assume that Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race. We have a bit of a mishap on the exit of the final corner, and that's going to allow Pierre Gasly to get a run on us. He's right in our slipstream. He pulls out of our slipstream, and we are side by side in turn. We're going to pull out. He has the overspeed, and we jump back in his slipstream for turn 1 and 2. Not ideal, but we are still in the points, and we now have a car to maybe try and drag us up a bit. We are going to have DRS on him. I believe he doesn't have DRS on the cars ahead. He is a bit of a faster car than us. He's about 2 or 3 places up in the order, as we just got to keep going on to the straight now. Once again, Ferrari behind us. He definitely has the speed over us. We both have DRS into turn 1. We're going to be side by side. Who's going to be late on the brakes? It's going to be the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Can we get the switchback on him? No. Perfect defending from the Ferrari there, as we cannot get past him. We will have a second bite of the cherry though with the DRS, although he has it too. So we are not going to be able to make up any positions on the Ferrari, which isn't the most ideal thing to have. But we are now going to have DRS down the straight. He does have it on Gasly though, so maybe he can fight with the AlphaTauri, and that's going to let us get back into this race. You can see our gearbox is now completely, as we're retiring due to a mechanical failure. I didn't know about this. We didn't have anything pop up on the MFD. That is a very weird failure to be having in this race. None of our engine components have blown up, I don't think. It might have been the gearbox just got so worn that it just gave up. But we had no notification on our MFD of a retirement. So that was very surprising to me, as I guess the risk of not taking the gearbox to get a little bit of an advantage in our starting position was kind of working out, but it has fallen that we have the most terrible punishment of DNFing from a race where we might have been on track to score a few points for Aston Martin. Max Verstappen's going to win the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton in second, and Charles Leclerc in P3. Still slowly holding on just slightly to his championship lead is Charles Leclerc, keeping it as tight as he can. As now, for the second year in a row, Max Verstappen wins the Mexico City Grand Prix. Similar podium to real life, although Charles Leclerc is being replaced by Checo Perez is being replaced by Charles Leclerc here. As once again, the all-dominant Max Verstappen is going to win for Red Bull, and we are going to have yet another DNF in our Aston Martin. A lot of DNFs coming from mechanical failures in the last half of the season. Not entirely what we'd want, but it's not the worst case scenario either. And do you want to know what's the better scenario? None of the Haas's were in the points. Mick Schumacher just on the verge of points. He's in P11. But Kevin Magnussen falls down to P14. as Sebastian Vettel and myself take the 2 lowest positions in the order. Not our best weekend. Charles Leclerc still holding on to his championship lead with 36 points up on George Russell. And then Lewis Hamilton in 3rd place. Ferrari first in the Constructors, 9 points ahead of Mercedes and 20 points ahead of Red Bull. That is a very close battle, which is going to unfold in the next 2 races, as we're now into the lobby screen, because I just wanted to check whether any of the components were actually done. We get no resource points from it, and none of the components that we had fitted in the car had actually failed. So the gearbox had just completely given out and decided that we were going to DNF. But anyway, if you guys have enjoyed, please like, subscribe down below. Means a lot, and I will see you guys next time for the Brazilian Grand Prix and Sprint Weekend. Bye bye.